There are a group of prophets that are alive on this planet at this time. The way that they see things is not the same. These are not people who you would consider God's people in the term that we've known it. You wouldn't consider them God's people because they're not looking for a reward. You know, the same energy that people have perpetuated when it comes to God and what God's promise looks like, you know, the child, the 4 acres and a mule. These are people that have fundamentally never agreed with that. And you know, as children, they may not have even understood why they didn't feel like they resonated with that. They didn't feel like their idea of a reward was something to do with this planet, was something to do with seeing themselves fulfill this, you know, rewarded life, seeing themselves fulfill this, you know, top-notch life. A lot of them may have even convinced themselves that they actually want it because they felt like they couldn't explain why they didn't want it so profoundly. In fact, they may have even been pushed into the category or been considered, you know, suicidal or unhealed, or like they needed to work on themselves. But God is here to tell them, no, you are not mistaken. In fact, God has made these prophets such that they're able to receive downloads. They're able to see things that are terrifying in a very crystal clear way. Things like the cults that run this world. Things like the energetic grid work. Exactly how even familial lineages are passed down, gifts. They're able to see the structure of the matrix for what it is, because they're not clouded by the idea that they have to stick around to either fix it or to surpass it so that they can enjoy a sweet life. They don't have that thirst to be on this planet. And a lot of them have faced addictions, suicidal ideations, a desire to just vanish. But they keep getting pushed to speak. They keep getting brought to the forefronts to see things. People keep pulling at them energetically. They're very magnetic. And these are people that are absolutely loners in a deep spiritual sense. And it doesn't mean they're loners in the physical sense all the time. They don't have a solid character. They can flow between several identities to the point where anybody that tries to mimic their spiritual journey ends up only being able to mimic parts of them that are illusion-based, parts of them that are literally being transmuted as we speak. These are a special collective, and they are entrusted, or they're going to be even more entrusted with a lot of prophetic messages coming from the Most High, because they will not dilute it. They will not try to create a, you know, kumbaya, love and light, let's heal through it, but okay, this is so and so, but how do we move past this to create a family and acres and a mule? They're not going to be like that. They're almost like, I'm getting this energy of Enoch, where eventually they are going to disappear. This is what I'm getting. Eventually they will disappear, and a lot of people will not know where they went. A lot of people will not know where they went. This is the type of energy I'm picking up on. This collective of prophets, of psychics, of gifted ones, this collective is going through a major upgrade right now, a major upheaval. And a lot of it could come in a very subtle wave, but it's going to, once it lands into the body, it's going to open up everything. And things, emotions, desires, actions that were withheld or that were inaccessible in the past are being accessible to these people specifically. They're going to wield so much power, so much authority, not just in their energy, but in what they put their mind to, in what they put their words on, and in what they see. These are energies that I've considered in my blog watchers. They are the ultimate enigma. They are the ones who have embodied all the characters. And you could say that they went through several lifetimes, and this is their last lifetime. You could say that. This is their final incarnation. For those who believe in multiple lifetimes, even though I have mentioned this multiple times in my videos, I do believe in that, but it's not linear. It's not linear. It's not you die, you get born, but we're not going to get into that. This is what you would consider their last lifetime. These prophets, these energies, they're going to feel like they resonate with everything, but nothing at the same time. They're going to have periods of time where they could swear up and down. They resonate with being the oppressor. They resonate with being the Ophions, the lost soul. They resonate with every single archetype or archetypal energy, but none of them at the same time. This is the proving process. This is almost like giving me the physical manifestation of what happens in the womb before people become people. Before people become people, they go through all of the phases, a bird, a fish, everything. This is the collective I'm talking about today. They're going through a major upheaval. And a lot of them are going to be asked to step into roles that they may have never imagined themselves embodying, ever, ever. This collective of prophets have reached a boiling point of unlocking so many layers of the prison that has become of this matrix. And for a lot of them are currently being sought after in a very particular way. And the way that they're being sought after is very secretly, because those who seek after them, they're very afraid to trip up the wires. And a lot of the time, that's what's happening. The wires are being tripped up. Technology is getting messed up around these people. A lot of things are catching the blowback of these watchers that are watching the actual watchers. You know why this is happening? Because these collective of prophets, they are the ultimate watchers. They're the original watchers. They're not the watchers that have been created and blended with soulless beings or machinery. They're not them. They are the original watchers who watch with gentleness, who protect the sentinels, so to speak. The ones who have embodied all aspects of being enough to sympathize and harmonize with it and to be a just judge. Even though when I say judge, I'm using it in a very loose term here, not direct judge. They are not God per se, but they are watchers. And they're directly connected to God. That is why a lot of these prophets, a lot of these gifted ones, these psychics, however they're interpreting their energy, they could even be creators, artists, right? A lot of these beings that I'm talking about today, they have been entrusted with bits and pieces of what God has been divulging during this apocalyptic period of everything coming out from the shadows. They have been entrusted with bits and pieces of the information, and you're going to notice that a lot of them have begun expressing it, and slowly the web is taking place. The actual hive mind is being built simultaneously as the false hive mind is trying to maintain its control over the collective. That's what's happening right now. So when I said these prophets are going to be awarded positions that they never imagined themselves, I'm not talking about positions in terms of this hierarchy, positions in terms of taking place in court or in law or in these human man-made positions. No, I'm talking about them carving these positions from nothing at all. Their very presence, their voice itself, their full embodiment of who they are without apology, because they have lived so long apologizing for who they are. That is the position itself, because people are literally wired to obey these people when they're in full embodiment. They are wired to obey them because they are naturally the embodiment of the watcher spirit. They are the embodiment of the true watchers. That is what these energies are holding. That is why there's a major attack, and there's almost a grid breakdown that has taken place over the past days. A lot of grid breakdown and being made up again has been taking place. And a lot of these watchers, these energy, these prophets, these beings have a hideout space where they go. They are multiple different beings, creatures, birds, animals. They take shape in every form possible. And what is happening right now is what I would like to call the change of the guards. That's what's happening, and it's happening on a cosmic scale. God's chosen are taking their space.